Welcome back to another episode of Rhymeshe. You should already know what it is. We talk all things music. It's your favourite girl, Teeyana.
And myself, Christel.
And your girl, Cee Valentina.
Let me tell you how the game goes. The rules are very simple. We have 4 envelopes on the table, and in those envelopes contain statements that are blasphemous. Yes, we are playing blasphemy versus truth, and it is between us to discuss, debate, and unpack.
And joining us in the hot seat today is Christel Kayibi. Hello, sis.
Hey.
Welcome.
Thank you. So Christel currently serves as a legal and business affairs manager and an A&R for Columbia Records UK. So she's advised and represented notable artists and personalities such as YG, R2Bs, Legendary Beats, and Eddie Caddy. Yeah, a fun fact about her is she helped secure the deal between Mr. Easy and Columbia Records. So that's amazing. Let's just give it up. Let's give it up.
That's a black woman doing bits. Okay, let's get into the game.
Okay, so our subject for today is record labels.
Oh my
A swear word.
Are you ready to be put under
Record
pressure,
labels?
Christel?
No, but okay.
Okay, so my boyfriend used my voicemail on his mixtape. Can I sue him for royalties? That's an interesting one because I need that check. 2, 1.
Oh.
Oh.
I hope so. I said Marvin's
Yes,
room.
Marvin's room. I'm screaming.
Did Drake get sued for Marvin's
I
room?
think so, but the girl,
Oh.
you know the girl at the beginning of the song?
Oh,
Yeah, it was a
interesting.
situation where there was text messages in between the two, so Drake and the girl, and he sent a message saying, "Oh my God, you contributed massively to the song. Without your contribution, the song would be nothing." And she used that as evidence in court to say that her
You go, sis!
to say that her voice note made the song, so she gets songwriting credits because
Secure the bag,
So-
sis.
Shout out to her. Shout out to her.
But yeah, you can, because it still is a copyrighted material.
Okay.
And copyright kicks in whenever you actually create something and record it. So the fact that she's recorded the voicemail means that you can prove that it was created and you can prove who created it. I think the only difference and complication that you may have to look into is because it's been transmitted, who actually owns it. But I would argue yes, you can, because it is evident as to who actually made the voicemail, said the words, and whose idea. Because copyright is protecting original ideas, and as long as you can prove that the words were original, you know, she didn't go and say lyrics of a song, let's say, but it's her own thoughts that are original. Yeah, it's copyrighted material.
Nice.
Yeah, and you're right, you can
the
get
bag,
you can get
sis.
publishing. Yeah, you can get publishing
Nice.
splits on the track. Yeah.
Record labels prey on young artists from the hood. They know that if they hang $500,000, I didn't know I do dollars, in front of these kids' faces, they're jumping at that.
Oh.
3, 2, 1. I had a feeling this was gonna happen.
Lies.
Okay, so kind of.
I said kind of, but yeah.
Lies. Yes.
And absolutely yes.
yes.
Okay, so let's
unpack.
discuss
I don't think the figures are right, but I do think
life-changing
bad
money.
deals,
Yeah.
life-changing money, but small money is always given to artists. But you can let us. you. I mean, everything isn't as it seems. So you let us in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I want to hear what everybody else's views
Okay.
are first.
So my opinion, from the outside, from someone who knows absolutely nothing, just an observer, do you know what I mean? I just see it more often than not. Bad deals occur very often, and it's okay. Bad deals. What is a bad deal? So like, I guess that's another topic. So like, I guess the thing I see is an artist that might not know not a lot about record labels and know a lot about business in general. All contracts.
Mhm.
And if you look at the situation, they're picked up from being young and when they were not as established and not as knowledgeable, probably in a situation where they're poor, they've got so many things happening in their life and there's so many priorities, financial priorities. And record labels know this. They purposely, record labels as independent labels as majors. I'm thinking more of the majors. They know this and then they take advantage of the imbalance of knowledge.
I don't think, this is where I disagree with you. I agree to the extent that I feel like there are a lot of people entering quote unquote bad deals or deals that may not be that lucrative for them.
Is it a bad deal though, or is it
You signed it, so there's no such thing as a bad deal, you signed it.
Right. But I don't necessarily think that labels are going out of their way or like intentionally like targeting people to do that. I think it's happening because people have a lack of knowledge, but to say that it's because the labels are intentionally going at it and doing it like that, I don't think that's what's happening.
I do think with the labels though, like whether it's I think anyone that sets contracts, even like let's talk like say the influencer world, is whatever's in the contract is more beneficial for the business or the brand more than the person. That's what I've seen anyways from the contracts that I have personally signed. It's more beneficial for the
whoever
brand,
drafted it
than for me.
I think that's the case.
Okay, those are all lies. So firstly, we'll talk about your imbalance of knowledge. There's no such thing. If you have a lawyer, your lawyer has the knowledge. If you have a manager, your manager should have the knowledge. No artist in the world knows most things because that's not their job. They're not a job to be. Their job isn't to be a lawyer. Their job isn't even to manage. Their job is to make music. So of course, artists don't know what's going on because that's not their job. You have a lawyer and you have a manager. I've never negotiated a deal against an artist that didn't have a lawyer, and a reputable one at that. So I find it very odd when people say, oh, they don't know. Yeah, they're not going to. Like, that's not their job. Yeah. So there isn't an imbalance of knowledge. You have a lawyer. That lawyer should be experienced.
What about the lawyer that record labels get for?
We don't get them. See, this is the thing. Like, I feel like there's so much crap that kind of hangs out in the ether. One, we do not get lawyers for artists. Most of the time, artists already come with lawyers. Most of the time, if an artist comes to the office and be like, oh, my lawyer is X or my lawyer is Y, why am I going to find you a lawyer? It's not my problem. A lot of the times, it's lawyers that come and pitch artists to us. A lot of the times, there'll be lawyers that will send me an email and be like, hey, can you check out this artist? And then we'll check it out. So, no, that's a horrible myth that is just, I think it's just nice sometimes for us to think because a lot of people have said it, but a lot of these people sometimes when they be like, oh, I'm like, you're lying. I know who your lawyer was. Your lawyer's a very great lawyer and you're just chatting rubbish for the sake of just joining this conversation. So from that perspective, yeah, there's always going to be an imbalance of knowledge because the artist doesn't know anything. Easy didn't know a lot of the terms when I was doing stuff, but we taught each other, we learn. If you want to learn, you learn. But it's not necessarily saying that us labels are preying on the fact that they don't. It's actually bad business if I sign a contract with someone who doesn't understand what it says. And there's always a rep in there that says that you've taken independent legal advice. That means independent from me. I did not find you the lawyer. I did not give you advice on that your lawyer did. So if you're going to rep that in your agreement, that's up to you to find.
Because I would have always thought that would be some type of conflict of interest if you were to.
Of course, it's a huge conflict. I can't find your lawyer. Like, why would I find you? Because then you could say I found you the best lawyer that would agree to my terms. And then going on to the thing of the terms being more beneficial to us. Again, that's a lie. If you have a good... This is one thing that I think sometimes I wish artists did a little bit more, was understanding bargaining power and understanding leverage. The more bargaining power you have, the hotter you are as an artist, the more in demand, you have more leverage to put whatever you want in the contract. If you don't, you don't. Like, you can't leverage that. I mean, when I did the deal with Easy, we were able to leverage a whole bunch of stuff that people have never been able to get because he had such great leverage. So I think that's what people don't like to understand. If you're a business person, you're in business, contracts are all about leverage. It's who has the bigger position to be able to argue the bigger pie. There's no such thing as a contract that's more in favour of an artist or more in favour of a label. It's what you negotiate.
Would you say now that it's easier to get leverage because your access to social media?
Of course. Of course. Like now, like you've got less artists that are in development stage and more artists that are just hot on the streets. And so everybody wants them and you've got high leverage because if I don't sign you and give you your terms, you could go to Polydor, you could go to Ireland, you could go whatever. So that's the benefit of having leverage. If you don't have leverage and no one else wants you, then we're going to negotiate and we're going to negotiate certain things that you may not like, but
Yeah.
I have the leverage. Because and one thing is, it's a risk. Like, it's a big risk. We have a building full of artists, and we're paying money that we're never going to ask you to pay back. But it's a risk. How much risk am I taking on 1,000 artists? I'm sorry, but as you said, it's business. Like, I have to make money. We have to pay staff members. We have to pay for your marketing. There's a whole bunch of stuff. So I think it's really annoying when I constantly hear these statements, especially because obviously it is some, and I don't mean to seem horrible, but sometimes it does come from people that have zero clue. And so it's people that have never signed a contract, never actually been an artist, never spoken to artist lawyer, and then they'll come and be like, yeah, well, I heard, I did. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I think because from hearing what you're saying, I think having access to a lawyer is key and having access to that knowledge. But I do think there's like a privilege there, having access to a lawyer.
No, but we don't do deals with someone who doesn't have a lawyer. It's impossible. We would never.
So there we go.
That's
that's cleared that
impossible.
up. Yeah, that's cleared that up.
It's impossible. And the thing is, most time is you find a way to pay your lawyer. You and your lawyer will come up with a fee structure that suits you. But I've never signed a deal with someone that had no lawyer. It's impossible. How?
So how do we see so many of these situations where artists are not happy with their deals?
Like Megan Thee Stallion, Migos, all of these people.
Yeah, but that's, again...
situations which aren't favourable for the artist.
Yeah, but it was favourable at the time.
Yeah.
When you signed it, you loved it, you enjoyed the money. Things change. A contract is static. It deals with the facts at that time. As things change, your profile gets bigger, things will change, and unfortunately it may not suit you at that time, but that's the bargain that you entered into at that time. If you don't think about putting milestones to be like, oh, if I hit this, you give me this, or if I hit that, or can we renegotiate? It's not up to me to suggest that. That's you and your lawyer to think about your long-term career. But if you're just thinking about the money, fine. If you're just thinking about the money here, we're swapping like for like, right? You've got something I have something that I've got something that you want. And if you're not going to think about your long-term career of what happens if my profile blows in a year or two.
Yeah, I guess business is business.
Business is business. I mean, what can I say? Like, you wouldn't go and complain about, a clothes that after you've washed a while goes dingy. That's what happens. That's time. As time goes by, things change. So, I don't know. I just find it a bit frustrating, but
yeah,
at least the misconceptions cleared up now.
Cleared that up.
Interesting. Okay, label lawyers are your frenemies. They will turn on you once the money is. What?